Yeah. What up? It's another fresh, young perspective for you. This is episode 6. I'm with my usual co-host.
Queen Midas to the left. To the left.
To the left.
Queen
to the
Midas.
left. Make sure you have Queen Midas on your left.
Hey. You don't know.
And then Marta on the right. At Bless This Beast.
Yo, 6 episodes in.
You said you would do it for me, so do it for me.
Alright, yo. To my left. Ooh. So to the left.
To her
is...
left. To her left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my left.
All right.
Yo, I know my directions.
I don't.
To the left is Marta at Bless This Beast on Twitter. I don't know. At Twitter.com.
And on Instagram.
And on Instagram. So follow up.
That's very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's very, very good.
Yo, I'm telling you, by like the end of the season, we're gonna get you like doing that intro. You're gonna kill it.
We'll see.
How many episodes are this season?
I'm assuming there's gonna be like 10.
Are we gonna do like a Marvel superhero season, like a 10 episode thing?
I'm thinking like 10, short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
Get to the cut.
Easy to digest.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking
so
of
look
things
out
to
for
follow, follow us on Twitter at FreshYoungP.
Mm-hmm.
Young as in Yonge Street. Gotta represent Toronto.
YONGE, yep.
Yep, Yonge Street. And on Instagram, Fresh Young Perspective. We got the full name to fit on there.
Yeah, which is crazy.
We put up concert videos. We put up teasers for our episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Anything's pretty much related to what we're doing with the show. You might see a 1-2. It's a reveal of our face every once in a while, but no promises.
Yo, actually, no. Our first Instagram post was that Kendrick teaser, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yo, so
Seeing
tell
Kendrick
that story,
on the
because you're the one who got it. You were on the scene.
It was cool.
Yo, like, do you remember what street it was in? This was in Toronto.
Yeah, it was on Spadina. So
it's a damn pop-up show.
Yeah, it was...
Pop-up shop. I'm wearing the shirt, too.
Yeah, you're wearing the shirt.
He's wearing a red one. That is on our Instagram.
Yep.
Fresh Young Perspective.
Plug eyes.
So it was at a sneaker store called Livestock, which is on Spadina, which is a cool store. You guys should check it out. We even pop up lists. But so the lineup was like ridiculous. Around the block. It was really far. So when I first got there, I got there a little bit later, and there were tons of people already.
Yeah. Not surprising.
Yeah, so the line was pretty hard.
Shout out to the girl that we saw today on the bus who was
yeah.
Did you go to the Kendrick show? Because I was wearing the shirt. And I was like, yeah, but we went to the one last month. She's like, oh, I only was able to get a shirt from the pop-up because I couldn't get tickets to the show. But did you see Kendrick there? He's so cool. He's shorter in person, but he's so cool. So shout out to you.
Yo.
Carrying on.
Cool. But yeah, that's true. Like, he walked out because he showed up. Okay. And all he did was, like, walk by the line and then walk through the store.
Okay. Did he pick up anything? Did he shop? Like,
I don't think so. I think he was there for, like, literally minutes. Because, so as soon as that happened, like, the whole line, like, moved forward way far.
Moshing.
So, like, I, of course, was like, yeah! And then I got closer to the front.
Yeah.
But some other guy came out of the store and, like, he was talking to some girl in line that I guess he knew. And he was like, yeah, he's gone now. Like, he didn't stay in there. He didn't do anything. So...
He didn't, like, say, like, yo, make sure y'all buy all my shit.
I don't know what he did when he was inside, but, like, he didn't talk to people in line. He just walked by.
Just walked through.
Yeah.
And people lost their goddamn minds.
People lost their minds. Like, legit. He had, like, 3 security guards, I think, which might be, like, a reason why he seems so short, because, like, obviously his security
Yo, that's the
like,
Napoleon
big.
thing. The Napoleon complex. People know, I didn't learn this until Sci-Hi, and he was, like, saying about basically, like, the myth about Napoleon being short. It's just like, no, his bodyguards were just ginormous.
Totally.
So he looked short in comparison.
Yeah.
But he was actually, like, a...
He was average height.
At that time.
Yeah, it was propaganda.
So...
Yeah.
But that's the next thing.
Yeah.
We might touch on propaganda later this
Tonight,
episode.
Yeah, we might.
But you never know. We're
Teaser!
trying to get deep and heavy on this one. So.
Yeah, legit.
Get ready.
But also, go back to that day... wasn't Travis Scott
hopping
out of a whip?
Travis Scott drove by the pop-up shop and like waved at people from his car. Yeah.
Like, did he just wind down and be like, "Yo, go get me some"? Or
like, no, he just like drove. I didn't know. I didn't see him, But I thought, honestly, that it was Kendrick that had come by. Because once again, the line started moving and people were, like, screaming. Mm-hmm. And then somebody else was like, oh, yeah, it was Travis Scott. I see it on Snapchat. Because, like, he Snapchatted it or whatever. So, yeah. Damn. So he made an appearance, and then Kendrick made an appearance, too. So.
And didn't he shut it down?
Shut it down.
Shut it? No.
Damn.
Shut it down.
All in all, I think I waited 4 hours.
Small price to pay.
Except for the big price to pay that I paid for the actual merch.
Was it worth it?
I think it was for sure worth it. I've, like, a little bit sad because I wanted one of the hoodies and I bought it and then I got home and I put it on and it was like a dress. So now it's Dee's hoodie.
Yo, you could have took that and are you kidding? You should have made it work. Grab some duct tape? Yo, nothing would stop me.
But it was like, it's nice stuff. Like, I like the merch a lot and the hoodies were like super soft.
So wait, is the red one just the Toronto color?
No, the ones that are Toronto specific are... No, actually...
No, it is.
It is, yeah. I'm lying.
Which is wicked, because not only is that... I'm going to call it the Fresh Young Perspective red. So that's our logo red. I think that's the color of the TTC as well.
Yeah.
Yo, and it's Toronto's color.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he does, like, some cities the same colors, but it's like there were different colors in different places for sure. Yeah. Okay. And then there's like a Toronto specific T-shirt that said Toronto, like, Toronto it says on it. So I got one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's a little on the Pablo tip, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of that wave.
Like so when you guys catch us on Instagram, you're gonna see You're gonna see us in the streets, basically. But and when I say us, I mean them too. Because I'll be out in the suburbs just chilling, dealing with traffic. Yo.
So before we get into our other topics, we might as well talk about where we hit up this week, which was we saw SZA Touch Road at Rebel. It was greatness.
Why are you upset you didn't go?
I wanted to propose, but it was like way too far. It was greatness. Everyone on that card like it's a fight. Everybody on that on the tour could sing. Everybody. Yeah. We already gushed about Raven Lene on our first episode. Yep. She was back, and I was happy that she was back because she has a song with Smino, who is the next person. No, I didn't get to pick the Combs because he wasn't selling them. But
yeah, I was really upset.
I feel the shade. Reminding me of past mistakes. My bad.
Which we brought up all of this on episode 2.
Yeah.
But going back, they have a song together called Glass Flows, and they did it because they were both there. And when his first attempt of trying to do it, she was like backstage, I guess, getting water in the bathroom or something. She was like, "Hey, yo, Raven, come out!" And then there's like a long pause. He's like, "Yo, Raven."
Where are you at?
We're just gonna have to go to the next song then. And then I was like, no!
Yeah, we were both like, no, she better come back.
And then she like popped her head on stage. I'm like, I see your braids. And then she's like, now we're ready. And they made it like it's already a sultry song, and they made it even like live.
Yo, they're such good performers. Like, shout out to Smino, who just killed it since day one.
Yeah.
And
he's
blowing
vocally
up
too. He's like really, really good.
And he has a distinct voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very much.
And he changed it, right? Like, you know how that's rarely done, that people change the cadence or the style of a song when they perform it. They don't like to play around with it musically, which is what a lot of people want to see when they perform it. You don't want to hear it at the exact same... For some songs you do, for some songs you don't. But because he's really musically talented, he was able to play around with so many songs on stage, and everyone was losing their mind every time he did it.
Yeah.
Like, he did Spit Shine, like, acapella at first, and then the beat kicked in, and all his backup dancers were bopping and really rocking, and it was wild.
Yeah. And the great thing too was like they had a live band for everybody.
Live band does.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Drummer.
Yo, I love that shit. It just like ups like you feel the energy of everybody.
Especially for like for anybody, but for somebody who's like vocally focused, like all of these artists are. It's just like you need that. It's so good. It's so much better.
Feel goods.
Yeah.
Right?
Good vibes.
And then of course Solana touched the stage and feelings were felt. And again, her as well. She was played with the songs musically, and she's just like a ball of energy on stage. She's doing flips and jumps and twirling around and dancing.
Yeah, she dances a lot.
Performers, yo.
And what was blowing my mind, I also brought this up when I saw friend of the show, not really friend of the show yet, but soon to be friend of the show, Jason from Extra Gravy. I saw him on road and we were talking about the show, and she's jumping up, dancing, twirling around, still holding every note. Yeah. Remember how that's like not a thing now? People have to, use a backup vocals,
like you're lip syncing.
Yeah, exactly. If you're doing major choreography, typically you're lip syncing. No, she's jumping, dancing around, having fun, hair flowing all over the place, hitting every note.
Yeah.
Jesus.
She could really perform her ass off. We were like, everyone was taken aback. And then she dipped off stage and took a picture with Drake. And we never got an encore. I'm salty.
Yo, because Drake took your girl. Sorry, she went.
Sodium.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird. It was a sudden end to the show, I feel like. It felt like she was supposed to come back, but she didn't.
She got distracted. Drake and OVO. Oh, he's trying to sign her to OVO.
It's a TDE thing, no.
Yeah, no deal. He was probably in the back like, don't you try it.
Yeah, right.
Don't you fucking dare.
Yeah.
I'm not
like Top Dog is back there, watching him.
Yeah.
No, that's what happened. She got kidnapped.
Keep that arm higher up. Keep that. I see you trying to scoop that arm lower. Keep that arm higher up.
Yeah, for real.
Oh my god.
Good show, though.
Yeah, it was a good show. And you might see us at some next shows because a string of them just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
We have
rap season.
Black is dropping. Kid Cudi's coming. Mm-hmm. Might not see us there, but Flying Lotus has one coming soon.
Shit.
Daniel Caesar has one coming soon. And of course, Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm. So, and Sid.
Oh yeah,
Sid just got announced as well. Yeah.
So Toronto in autumn is pretty fucking hot.
Right? I feel like this happens every year. It's
around this time.
Yeah, people start showing up.
Concerts.
But it's like, you know our weather is shitty. Can y'all work with us? And that's how Toronto fans are down for whatever. Because they will come out if it's like a snowstorm. They still showing out, and they'll wait. And they'll buy and they'll engage.
Trust me, I have my heat tech thanks to Uniqlo. I'm ready. I'm ready, Fog.
Shout out.
Looking for
sponsor. Yo, it's coming.
I'm ready, dog.
Got some things. We talking to the universe.
Right? Speaking into existence.
Right.
Oh, one more joke before we move on to our serious facts. But going back to the show, it seems to be plagued by all kinds of like tech issues. So it was fine for
venue?
Rebel. So used to be Sound Academy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Rebel. I'm sorry. I'm shocked because Rebel is like a newer venue. Like that shit should be taught. Like, what's the problem?
So DJ Fresh Finesse, who we also saw in No Name. He was good there. Yeah. He was spinning there. Mm-hmm. He tried to play. His system wasn't hooking up to the.
Yeah.
And so he was there trying to stall for time. He brought girls on stage to dance. Like, he's like, I don't know. He was telling jokes. Trying to entertain.
He's like, I'm gonna start doing stand-up comedy up here.
He's like, I don't know what to do. And then you just saw, like, in the corner, everyone by the computers and the
it was like a flashlight.
audio engineers just kind of looking around and shrugging and being like, fill for time. And they're giving them hand signals like it's a baseball match. Like, it was good times. And everyone was kind of looking around like, all right, just plug in the aux cord or something.
Right? For real.
Really, you see how, like, you take 10 steps forward when all you need, like, technically, if you just hook that up to get away, this wouldn't have been an issue.
Thankfully, nothing happened when the performers were performing. Like, that part was ironed out and smooth. But it's just, like, everything in between was just a mess.
Yes.
Like, the transitions were sloppy.
Yes.
Like, Raven Lenae came out. Silence. Like, people were tearing down their machines and setting up and moving their keyboards and the drums in silence. And the crowd's just kind of sitting there.
Well, I feel like this was the same issue. Like, the DJ couldn't do his job.
Couldn't play anything,
right?
yeah.
So, that was lame.
So that's the only... I don't know what the issue was there. Because, like we said, we saw Fresh Finesse before, and he had some good stuff.
I like his set.
So,
he knows how to move a crowd.
Yeah, so don't know what happened there, but maybe it's just Rebel, maybe we'll see.
Well, I feel it might have been just like a show thing.
Yeah, could have been
something
just
shitty happened that day.
But
so like everything ran on time except then SZA was like super delayed because whatever was going on with the sound.
Oh, so do you think maybe that's why shit got cut short?
Could have been.
No.
Because my thing with Rebel, I thought Rebel after the concert, I thought they would open up as a club, and I feel like they don't.
It doesn't on like a regular day, I don't think. Because that
idea.
Yeah, because you're right. I forgot that she came out super delayed, and even her like keyboardist and her guitar player where they're trying to like strum and nothing's happening.
Yeah, and remember you were like, oh yeah, I see everybody nodding now. Yeah. It seems to be like they fixed whatever was going on. And then instantly she went out and it was fine.
And then she killed it.
Yeah.
Her presence just made everything.
Just fixed all the technology.
Yeah.
But like she's like, let me finish my drink, which she did come on stage with a drink, so.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yo.
Yeah.
Alright, so how are we gonna not so smooth transition into this next topic though?
Yo, okay, so this topic is a little, I don't want to say heavy. I'll say real. Mm-hmm. And I'll say close to the heart. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll keep it like that. It's in a sense, I don't want to say it's a serious topic, because it is, but it's definitely a discussion that needs to be had.
Yeah.
And it all kind of started with the whole Charlottesville thing that's kind of been building its own energy and kind of getting spun out in different cities. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, like, we're in Toronto, but
they try to have one here, and they were scared of the deaf us. So
legit.
They canceled for now.
I'm pretty sure somebody was like, nope, not in my city, and just shut that shit the fuck down.
Well, because there were counter rallies that were planned, right? So they were like,
so they're like,
we're scared. We're scared.
Someone's gonna take back our free speech and thump us in our mouth.
Which, you know?
I saw a tweet of some stupid article that was like, this is why you should never counter protest. And what they were talking about is like specifically planning a rally on the same day at the same space or venue or whatever.
It was at U of T, right? It's gonna be at U of T?
This was, yes, but they were talking more general about how like doing that just like invites quote unquote violence and how it like breeds hostility, whatever the shit. If you want to protest something, protest it on a different day at a different time in a different place.
Who wrote this article?
Some bullshit conservative, of course. But anyways, so the response tweet.
Yo, dog, run up, fam.
Yo,
the response tweet that I saw was, okay, so people are canceling these racist nationalist rallies because they're scared, and you want us to stop doing something that's working.
Right?
Okay, that makes no sense.
And this is my number one thing. It's like, yo, people don't get it. Yeah. And it's something so simple, and it's like, the message just literally just goes over everybody's head.
But the argument was that, like, Charlottesville wouldn't have gotten as much publicity, or people wouldn't be talking so much about giving these bad people their attention if the counter rally didn't happen, and if, you know, it didn't spur the whole driving into the crowd thing that ended up killing a woman. That the argument is that would never have happened if white nationalists were just allowed to do their thing, protest, and then go home at the end of the night.
So if white people were continuing to being white people and just letting shit happen.
Exactly. So I think that's stupid, but that was their argument, that the whole country, and I think this is totally false, but the idea was that the whole country doesn't feel this way, and that, like, the majority of people don't support what these people are doing.
Okay.
Which maybe the majority of the country doesn't support it, and by the country I mean by America, but enough people are starting to see that it's okay to voice your opinions on this thing, and it's okay to feel this way, that it's just growing more and more, and it's going to get worse and worse.
Okay, so the argument is
to not give them
give them the energy and the attention.
Yeah.
Which is the typical, like, strategy.
That's like the turn the other cheek bullshit.
Yeah, which is typical strategy.
No disrespect.
that celebrities do. That
totally, yeah.
Wasn't it? Who was Tina Fey was just saying? Was making a joke on Saturday Night Live, and she was saying, "Oh, well, we're just see cake.
Yeah,
just see cake.
Just don't pay attention.
Just don't pay attention. Just see cake. Every time you see something, just see cake."
I'm sorry, but nothing spells white privilege than saying something like that.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Like, you
get what I'm saying? You have the luxury to just eat cake.
So people were talking about how, like, she did that as, like, a satirical thing where it's supposed to be like, no, obviously that's a really dumb thing to do, and you're supposed to do the opposite. But that's not really clear.
Okay, my
that's
whole
not
thing...
really, that kind of doesn't, you know.
Yeah, and you know what? With Tina Fey specifically, because she is a comedian who, she does, like, a lot of, like, political jokes.
Yeah.
Me just judging that off the path, it's like, yo, it's, like, timing is a thing, too, right? And it's like, to me, that's such I don't think that was the right timing, and I don't think that was the right way to go about it if it is a joke. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like...
It is satirical, yeah.
How many people have to die? Like, what's wrong with you?
But it's like the thing where you are joking about it, but that's what most people do anyway. And I guess that's the joke, but people are like, oh, but she says it's cool, and we can pretend to not get that it's a joke, and therefore carry on and not do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
See, and this is my whole thing.
Exactly.
People choose, like, people look at Trump like he's a joke, but it's like, yo, what is Trump doing at the end of the day? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's nice for you guys to point and laugh and like, oh, you know?
Totally.
But it's like, yo, I'm sorry, but, like, the thing about a joke, especially in those forums, is that, like, yo, you have to have some sort of semblance of intelligence to understand it. You're talking to a majority of people who don't understand that type of joke. So who's the joke on? Like, you get what I'm saying? That's why I feel like it's not effective.
That's like on election night, somebody at work was like, oh, this is going to be a funny night. Like, we'll see. I just think this whole thing is entertaining. And I, like, instantly was like, you cannot say that ever again. These are people's lives.
Legit.
And, like, huge, massive things will happen for not the greater good of the majority of people in his country if he comes into power. You cannot joke. It's not funny.
It's like, in a sense, like, it's America's biggest joke that went too far. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, yo, even if they're like, oh God, like, I'll take him over a woman.
Right?
You get what I'm saying? It's just like, really, yo, I've heard people go off about this whole, how dare she send her daughter an email from, you know, and I'm like, dude, your president is best friends with, like, a Russian like, really? It's weird how you kind of, you can kind of pick what you choose to focus on.
The man is endorsed by the... Yeah, exactly.
White privilege gives you the power to pick and choose what you want to address and when.
100%.
And pick the days. Oh, dude, don't do it during my time. Dude, I'm you could have your free speech between these hours at this time, okay?
You could protest another time because that's totally your right and you're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
But don't, quote-unquote, invite violence by coming to my rally and counter-protesting what I say.
Invite these nuts.
Okay, so first of all, if black people and white, like, see if a group of my friends, right? Imagine us. We're gonna, like, you know what? We're gonna do a protest. We'll do it on a different day, and we all show up. I mean, just for like stylistic points, we're gonna show up in our black berets and leather jackets. What the fuck do you think is gonna happen within the first 5 minutes?
100%.
I'm getting shot.
Yeah, and somebody's getting shot for sure.
Everyone else is getting arrested, but first beaten.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, bye to your fucking little theory. You get what I'm saying? It's like, yo, we can't do those things. Like, this is our only way. Like, yo, we don't have any more options. We don't have any other weapons.
Running out.
Right? Like, yo, you guys want to talk your shit? I'm going to be right there. You want to talk your shit? Just talk it right in front of me.
Exactly.
And it's like, yo, these people get together and they get bold. And then you have a president that's, yo, I'm sorry, but I'm old school. Yo, you're silent gives consent. If you don't say nothing against it, and that's why, like, I have an issue with all of... Like, I have an issue with most entertainers. I have an issue of most people with the platform that's not taking a side. This isn't the time to be silent. You get what I'm saying?
Totally.
This is the time it's like, yo, people need you. Like you said, like, yo, there are lives at risk. And you don't know how many more people are going to be affected. How many more people aren't in the position to take care. And it's like, it's become a joke. I found out about this through fucking Twitter. And I'm watching this thing grow. And it's like, I can't even claim that I'm surprised. But it's still painful.
Well past surprised.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
It's not surprising
and it's growing, and it's growing, and then, yo, like, in a sense, like a cancer, like, yo, people hear about it on Twitter, and then all of a sudden they start springing up in all these other towns, and it's just like, yo.
Just like here, right?
Like, come on, really? Where's Charlottesville?
In Virginia.
Okay. How far is that from Toronto?
Like,
far.
Not close.
The fact that my whole point is like, yo, we're all connected. You get what I'm saying? Everybody, I don't care. I hate to say it, but America is a leader in this global stage. People are watching them at all times. Shit like this pops off, everywhere else starts to echo.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And not everybody is as insulated and protected like America takes care of their white nationalists. Okay?
Yeah.
So...
It's just nuts. But yeah, there was another video circulating on Twitter, and it wasn't at Charlottesville, but it was at some other rally, or at least I think it was somewhere else. But it was this guy, white guy, dressed up in like a Make America Great Again hat and like the white polo and the full-on outfit, and people started chasing him and like yelling at him and like throwing shit at him. So he starts ripping off his clothes, literally, like throws his hat away, takes his shirt off, and he's like, yo man, I'm not really a white nationalist. I thought it would be funny to like show up.
I saw this video, yeah.
And then the guy filming him is like, okay, so you think it's funny to be like racist? You think this is like a good time? This is like how you get your kicks. And he's like, yeah, I'm not offensive. I just think it's like funny when people are like offended by shit. And then he's like, okay, so you think it's okay that you can just rip off your clothes, literally, and be somebody completely different. A black person can't do that with their face, right? Like, you can't do that. So, that right there is your white privilege. Do you really not understand that?
They don't get it.
You really don't understand.
Yeah,
like, it's that, you are it. You are it. You are white privilege. You just proved how it works.
And, like...
And he's still like, why are people attacking me? I'm not really a white nationalist.
And then they play this victim card, like,
exactly.
Oh, no, you're just ultra sensitive.
Totally. Yeah.
He's just like, really, dude.
You're just playing the black card.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, where are these black cards? Like,
where they at?
Are they handing them out?
No, legit.
Oh my god.
No, like you're saying that, it kind of brings up that whole Zoe Deschanel thing, right? Where it's like, oh, okay, you could choose to be white, you could choose to be black, but it's like, yo, it could never work the opposite way. Like a black person. Zoe, I said the wrong name, didn't I?
Oh, Rachel.
Sorry, Rachel. Yeah.
Why did you call her Zoe Deschanel?
That's why I was like, I was following along. Like, wait, what?
My bad. I don't know why the hell I'm thinking about that stupid ass show. I don't know. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about.
Katy Perry?
White girl. Yeah. Okay, so the girl, the woman.
Rachel Dolezal. Yeah.
There we go. The woman who claimed that she was black.
Yeah.
And, like, I guess did her hair, and, like, you get what I'm saying? She was just claiming something that she wasn't.
Totally, yeah.
And a lot of people, you know, were upset about it. A lot of people had a lot to say about it. And it's just like, yo, the fact that she didn't understand, it's like, okay, it could go one way, but it can't go the other.
Yes.
Right? A black person, I could never walk into someone and be like, yo, what? I'm white.
Yeah. Well, funny enough that you brought up Zoe Deschanel, and I, in turn, thought of Katy Perry. Speaking of Katy Perry, now she's in her urban phase, which she's not the first pop star to ever go through this. There's tons,
oh my god, there's tons
who've done this.
Bro, you said that, I instantly got a headache.
And then as soon as they're like, well, that's not cool anymore, then they take it off and they're like, hey, why'd America accept me again?
Anybody remember Miley Cyrus, who was like, I'm not making rap, quote unquote, anymore because it's
when
too
was she
violent.
Yo,
trying it out.
Too misogynistic.
Dash away when it doesn't work.
Exactly.
On to the next.
Yep.
Totally.
Dude, what the
You
fuck?
tried so hard to be black, and now you're like, it's too much for me.
It didn't work out,
that.
right? She couldn't handle the pressure.
I'm just gonna stop trying that now.
Like, legit. Yeah. And that to me is ridiculous. It's like, she had everybody's ear, right? Use that. Just say something, you know?
Right.
Take a side. Stand up for something.
Yeah. Especially because she's got a big history of like standing up for gay rights and like
homeless people. I've seen her do amazing things with her platforms. The one time is a culture that you claim you love, you know, by imitating it. Dude, say something, anything.
Yeah.
Nope.
It gets too heavy. It's too controversial. She already got what she wanted. What was her?
She made her money. Now it's time to go.
Yep.
Oh, take that off. What's the next thing? She's back to her little country roots, strumming about fucking Malibu. Ooh, congratulations. What about those black kids that you've been imitating this entire time? Where the fuck you think they at? They ain't in Malibu, honey.
Right?
So, yeah, shit like this just pisses me off. Legit. And then it's like, this is kind of like a segue, but it's like, so for me, I'll speak for myself. I'm looking, and this is why to me, like, 444 was such a huge deal. I'm looking to my people, like, I'm looking to my rappers, I'm looking to my entertainers, I'm looking to, like, any sort of, like, black person in a position to say something and be heard, and I'm looking for them to start stepping up, right? And the thing, a lot of people are like, yo, and I understand it, like, fear works in that sort of way, right? Mm-hmm. But once somebody sees somebody saying something and they know that, you know, I kind of agree with it, you're going to start to stand up. And Jay-Z did it in a way that people were listening and people needed to take in the message, and people did take in the message. My whole thing is like, okay, Jay-Z is one rapper. How many rappers do we have? How influential is hip-hop?
How many stars are in the sky?
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there are... Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, Jay-Z is right now like a mega super billion superstar.
Right.
So it makes sense that... Like, there are other people who have been saying stuff from time.
Yes.
And it's just... You're right. It's not being absorbed as it is. But, like, now when it's extra crucial and everyone's kind of looking for something, like you said, looking to the black people in power, looking to their black leaders.
Right. Their palette is ready for it.
Yeah, their equivalent.
Totally.
Yeah, now would be the time. But here's the thing that gets shaky now. Now, is it... How do you split what's genuine and what's not, right? Like, how do you split where someone's not like, all right, this is what's in now. I'm going to do something on that vein. Or versus, like, nah, we're going to address this.
And this is how you know. When they speak up and they say something, right? And then the backlash comes, because it does. How are they reacting to it? If they disappear and they never say anything again, you know exactly what it is.
Right.
Right? And it happens time and time again. I remember I saw, like, this clip on Twitter. And people were, like, singing, like, the move, get out the way. And then Ludacris, like, I don't know if he Instagrammed it. He said the video. He's like, yo, this is what it is. Like, that makes me feel good. And he's like, here I am on a black-owned jet with a father and son pilot, black people all around me. Like, yo, this is it. Like, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's just like, yo.
Here I go.
Look, like, yo, we have the leaders, right? And we need y'all. So show up. Right? And it's like, yo, this war, I don't even want to call it a war. I don't want to put that energy out there. But this issue, we need everybody's all hands on deck.
Yes.
We can't win this by ourselves. Like, white people, brown people, Latino people, jump on us. Like, we need your help. And, like, keep in mind, like, yo, we are, a couple shades darker from being you. So, if, in another life, if you believe in that, if your ass comes back a darker shade, think about how your life is going to change.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to say.
That's what you say.
Yo, legit. Yeah, it was just crazy because we're like, oh, okay. I know a lot of the argument is like, okay, yo, a rapper's a rapper. You're a fucking entertainer. Shut the fuck up.
So here's the thing. That this is another argument that, like, I'm tired of seeing, which is everyone saying stay in your lane. Like, we expect X from you. You do X. That's it. We expect you, Don Cheadle. We don't expect you to talk about anything political. Go make another fucking Iron Man movie. Like, we don't care. No, I never understood that. The amount of people that came for John Legend when he was first started speaking out against Trump. John Legend, what do you know about anything? Go back and play the piano.
Yeah. Stick to the music,
Stick to making music. Colin Kaepernick, when he's first time he knelt down. No
Just
one asked
throw
you
the
to do
ball,
this. Just throw the
asshole.
fucking football, nigger.
Yeah.
Like, no one's asking for it. All of this. Every time someone in this entertainment spectrum, whether that's sports entertainment, because, well, shit, black people are entertainment, period. But anytime one of them speak out, all of their quote-unquote fans that are not black, and sometimes even the dumbass black ones, are like, yeah, but we didn't ask this for you. Kind of stay in your lane.
Don't rub that in her face.
We don't want this.
Yeah.
Just go back to making a song. We don't care about all of this. Just go back to making a song. And this goes back to my favorite J.Cole track, Kenny Lofton, which is the whole crux of the song, which is about Kenny Lofton, who was on the Major League Baseball team. I can't remember. I think it was Cleveland. And he was like one of their best players. But the hook in the song is, Kenny Lofton, you feel my pace. They only care about a nigga when you stealing the base. And then throughout the song, J. Cole just keeps making other connections and lines related to other famous entertainers like Richard Pryor.
Yep.
Everyone who's kind of like had the platform and spoke out using their platform.
And got crucified for
and
it.
got crucified for it. And only to be told, like, we don't want this from you. You just entertain us.
Yeah.
We don't... No. You remember, we still own you. We don't want anything else from you. Just entertain me, win my football game, and so like win
my football game.
Win my football game.
Yo,
so like, I'll buy your jersey. That's it. But don't never forget where you are. You're there for my entertainment. That's
I made you.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
Don't try to get anything else out of this. So every time I see that shit pop up, like, it irks me, and I always think back to this song because he was like, again, like he was the record for stealing. I think he like had the record in like stealing all the bases or some shit. I remember reading up about it a long time ago.
Yeah,
when I first heard the track.
Yeah.
And reading up because the song just spoke to me about everything related to it.
Totally.
How just stay in your lane. They don't want you to do anything else. Just do that.
So do that one thing.
Do that one thing, and how dare you try to step out of it? And you see that time and time and again. And every time there's another example of it, I just go back to that song where it's like, no, that's your main. They only want you to be entertainment. Yeah. Like if LeBron James was to start talking about anything political right now, they would be on his ass.
Well, they are on his ass because like, he did start talking about it, and now they're like, just
dunk the basketball.
Just throw the ball in the hoop,
and
man.
You know what? In a sense, I understand it because, you're playing in a gym that's not your. Like at the end of the day, they're employees. You get what I'm saying?
But they're not.
They transcended employees though, like.
But this isn't coming from like. LeBron's
management.
Not being told by his management.
Yeah, it's not coming from management.
It's coming up from LeBron fans.
From quote unquote fans.
Yeah. Who are like, why aren't you just playing the game that you're supposed to play? It's really not that big a deal. Just play ball.
So that's like their catch-22. If I say something, I'm gonna get called out. If I don't say something, I get called out regardless. And it's not even
for sure.
From one end.
Like,
it's
look
from
what's happening in the NFL
you.
right now. Like, the NFL is like way worse because systemically it's like really fucked up. And now nobody wants to sign Cap, and nobody like gives a shit about what happens to him in the NFL organization.
Right.
But like the NBA, which is like known for being more liberal and whatever, it's the fans that are being like, sit down, shut up, play the game.
And like, why do you think that happens? Is it because, I mean, a majority of them are white?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, I don't want to hear my black man. Like, all I want from you is a song. If you can't give me that, I don't want to hear from you.
Well, all right, going back, we could now take this into music, which is our realm. Going back to when Beyonce dropped Formation.
And that was a spinning joke.
That had how many heads blew up.
Beyonce's black?
Yeah.
That was that was probably SNL's like greatest skit in recent history. If you don't know what we're referring to, just YouTube it.
Yeah.
The day that the world found out Beyonce was black. When she dropped Formation, and like I said, the heads were spinning, exploding, bloods were coming out of the ears. Like people were like, "What? Why is she talking about the? Is she talking about her how she loved her man's Negro nose? What is? Can't she just go back to single ladies? I don't understand. What is? I don't. Where did this come from?
Her entire life, yeah.
Her existence. What are you saying? It makes no damn sense. It just really doesn't make any damn sense that it's like, all right, you're expected to do justice, and you deviate from that, and we don't like it.
Yeah.
They don't understand it.
Yeah.
They can't support something that they don't understand. Or, I mean, technically they can, because they do it all the time. Right? And this is my whole thing with, like, concerts. It's like, yo, I'll go to that Vince Staples one.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yo, here he is, like, talking about he's dropping some fucking lines. You get what I'm saying? And I am in the audience, and I'm looking when he's saying these lines.
And then there's no reaction. A flicker in the eyelids.
Nothing.
And you're one of like 30 black people.
Yeah. Look.
More than
that's
that.
Another thing. Yeah. There's a handful of us.
More than that.
A handful. You get what I'm saying?
But the majority is definitely his white fans.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, are you guys listening to the music? Are you guys really taking it in, or is this just fast food in a sense, or fast music to you? Well, is it just a cool in thing to be doing?
I remember having conversations when Formation dropped, when people were like, oh, this song is like a little bit different. I don't know if I'm like into this like new sound of hers. And they like kind of ignore the fact.
Right, of what she was talking about.
Yeah, they're trying to veil. They're trying to veil
of what
like,
she's actually talking about.
It's not that the song's different. It's not like her sound's different. It's the content.
The content.
Totally.
They're trying to find a way to... Oh, well, we're not a fan of this new sound that she's doing. And I don't... No, you just don't like the fact that she's talking about being black.
Yeah. Do you think they're conscious of it?
But even, like, yes, I think some people for sure are, but sometimes I think it's just complete ignorance, too. Because you don't understand, because you would never, like, say me, who is a white person, I would never need to make that song, right? So, like, it's hard to understand that, like... she needed to make that song, and whether she's obviously not speaking to white people in that song. So
it's like a battle
so
cry
it's
in a
like
sense.
they don't get it because it's not for them, right? And they don't understand why it would need to be made. So to them, it's just a song that sounds maybe sort of similar to what she's put out before.
It's like, I can't dance to this.
But sonically,
I
it's
love
different.
his
So,
Negro. No,
yeah.
you can't dance to that.
Yeah, and like they feel weird singing along to it, so they like don't. So it's not like a Beyonce jam, right?
Right.
Like,
Case in point, let's bring it back to how we started the show, talking about Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
When Kendrick dropped Good Kid, Mad City, got a shit ton of fans.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick's follow-up album, It's Pimp a Butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
Blackity black as fuck. It was like, and now if you, so his general fan base was like, well, it's not as good as the first album. I wasn't really feeling that album. And they're all tiptoeing and dancing around and on the tippy toes, getting around the fact that they don't know how to act because the album's not for them.
Yeah, it's not for you. Yeah.
And which we could really break down if like hip hop songs in general, or some of the songs or the stories that even in Good Kid, Mad City none of them could ever relate to.
But it's
so it's hard for him to say.
But that's the
for
thing, because
them.
in Good Kid, Mad City, like I feel like a lot of, especially like younger white kids, sort of see the romance in that in a really fucked up way.
Thank you.
With
the
like,
gangster romance.
Totally.
It's easy for me to see a black man as a gangster, the gangster rap, because to me that's a fantasy that I've never had to experience.
Yeah.
I'll never have to be in.
And that I think,
and you make it sound so good.
And I think that it's really quote unquote cool. Like
exactly.
There's like how many movies? Like so many kids that saw like Juice were like, oh, this is so cool. Like these kids are like, I want to be just like them. So I feel like there is that romance in Good Kid, Mad City. But to Pimp a Butterfly, it's not, because that's not how that's framed, right? Like it's not from the point of view of a young kid. It's not like, I grew up, this is my story. It's more like greater picture. It's more like, this is some fucked up shit. Like it's not relatable. In that same sort of way.
It's definitely not, like, it's not easy to take. It's not...
Yeah, but also it's not, like you said, it's not written for white people. It's not addressing us. And not that Good Kid, Mad City was addressing white people, but it is that sort of story.
It fit the narrative that, like, you know, it's easy for me to understand, because I know the story of a gangster. You get what I'm saying?
Or
because
I think I do.
Exactly.
I really don't. But
and
I
on
think
top
I
of that,
do.
because they're so far removed from it, it's cool.
Yeah.
So which is such a weird, I mean, that's a whole nother podcast, like the cool factor in black people and why there's this, in a sense, correlation. Like, okay, like a country kid from like the friggin', I don't know, like a suburby neighborhood can go into like any random white school and like they'll be seen as something different. You get what I'm saying? Like all their projections are on this kid.
Yeah.
Even though this kid might be like the furthest thing from like a gangster or like the cool kid, but all of a sudden they have that attraction on them. But anyways, going back to like Beyonce and like the format, like I remember Beyonce, like, I swear she's, like, notorious for not showing up to the BETs. Like, they're, like, she's notorious. Like, her and Jay-Z, they're just, I just think they're out the fucking, I think their budget's probably, like, they're like, show fees is probably, like, 10 times the budget for that entire show.
Yeah.
And then the one year that her and Kendrick Lamar came, and, like, you knew she came with a purpose. She served the purpose. It was heard around the world.
Yeah.
Right? The people who she was talking to got it. The people who didn't had a problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, to me, it was just like, it kind of showed us exactly where we are, and in a sense
and how we're not anywhere.
And how nothing has changed.
We're not anywhere.
Thank you. Yeah. That's exactly what I was getting to.
Because the problem is, hey, this isn't for me. Yeah. Everything is for me.
So stop talking
has
because
been
it's not
for me.
important. Yeah.
Why is it not for me?
Everything has been for me.
Everything is mine.
This is the same reason why, like, white people have problems with, like, an all-black channel, or, like...
an all-black school.
All-black school. Anything like that, because they're like, oh, what do you mean? Segregation's bad. Haven't you been telling us this whole time that it's bad? But they don't understand that, like, a black person's experience in a white space is everyday fucking life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you're in a world that is made for you, by you, supporting you.
So you need a space that's just for you. Like, that you can have your community and have your culture.
For us, by us.
Exactly.
Right, but it needs to be seen, like, in a sense, like, yo, their first thing is to get threatened.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, yo,
totally, yeah.
Today, it's like, yo, culture is, in a sense, society is, like, programmed for, like, yo, if you see a group of, like, black people gathering.
That's too scary.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah. Something must be going down that's not positive at all. You get what I'm saying? It's going to turn heads. If a police drives by, say there's 7 black guys, they're stopping. They're going to pull around closer. I mean, white people don't have that problem.
Nope.
You get what I'm saying? How else can a rally like this go on?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. A group, it would never get that big because cops would shut it down before it even began. It's seen as threatening. It's seen as something else. And it's just like, yo, you guys use what you think I am and miss the message. Yeah. When do we get a voice? When do we get to speak? When can we be heard? Right? People like, yo, and this is why the thing what you're saying with like, yo, they want us to schedule it on a different day, at a different time. It pisses me off so much because it's just like, yo, here you are again trying to dictate how I speak, when I'm speaking, where I speak,
and to whom I'm speaking,
and you don't get it.
Yeah,
this is the problem.
And my least favorite counter argument is, if I had an all white school, you'd have a problem with that.
Honey, they're all
exactly.
You mean every school?
Exactly, every school ever. You like black people will always be the outsider, always.
Yo, even like remember how we were talking about in a sense? Okay, so we both went to school. I think we all went to school in Toronto. You get what I'm saying? And we're talking about, okay, what was your dress? Do you remember the dress code of your school?
So I didn't have one in high school because I went to an art school, but in
the dress code was berets and
and capes. A lot of kids wore capes.
You're fucking lying.
That actually sounds kind of dope.
Joke. But in my
do you remember elementary or anything?
In my middle school, because I went to school at Jane and Lawrence, so there was a lot of like no bandanas, no like you couldn't hike up one of your pant legs. Okay. That was not okay because that's like a gang thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was like a lot of the stupid girl stuff, like your skirt can't be shorter than where your hands reach on your legs, you know.
Okay, so what is that in a sense? When you take a step back, what is that really? It's about control.
Yeah,
right.
100%. Yeah.
And who's controlling what?
Yeah.
Right, because ultimately, who is it?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Which voice is speaking and which isn't allowed to speak?
Totally. Yeah.
Because in a sense, like to me, like in a sense, it's kind of disgusting because you're sexualizing what? A 12-year-old?
Well, that's
a
the
10-year-old,
thing, right? So
an 11-year-old, like really?
So for the girl stuff, the argument is like boys don't understand how to control themselves yet. So why don't you teach the boys instead of telling the girls that they're doing something wrong, right?
Right.
So, but also going back to like the whole, oh, you can't wear do-rags, you can't wear bandanas, right. You can't wear this, you can't wear that. Like,
yeah, so that happened in my high school, and the biggest joke is that my high school was in an area that was predominantly Asian, so there was maybe, if we're being generous, about 37 black people in my high school.
Okay.
My high school had a no bandana, no do-rag policy.
Who do you think is wearing those things?
80% of my school doesn't know what the fuck a do-rag is.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, who are they talking to?
Yeah,
right.
Who specifically are they trying to...
But also the other thing with that is, like, I feel like the powers that be in these schools are like, oh, you know, you can't... These kids who are not black can't be influenced by you guys or by your culture or by your entertainment even, like movies, whatever... Because that's in some way bad, right? Like, if you try to imitate them, that's dangerous to you.
It's seen as threatening.
You shouldn't be that because that's lower. That's not as worthy. You don't aspire to be somebody who wears a do-rag.
Yo.
Like, you know? And they don't even understand what a fucking do-rag is for, right?
Yo, you
it has
saying
nothing
that
to do.
Kills me. It brings me back. I'm so sorry. It brings me back. Yo, this woman was like... Because her daughter, so goes to school in an area, and she's Indian, goes to school in an area that's pretty much Indian and black, right? But this is in Brampton, by the way, so you know, like, the Indian population is actually overtaking. Anyways, so her daughter's like, yo, and then her mom was like, why are you talking like that? Why are you trying to be black? And to me, I was just like, why is yo considered black? Like, and then she's like, oh, that's not your culture. And I was just like, so black culture is slang. That's Interesting. How they attached one to the other.
Yeah.
And ultimately she's saying it's bad. Mm-hmm. So how do you how do you grow up a kid, and how does a child begin to open up their mind to understand what life is like for somebody who's not like them if you've already shut it down?
Totally.
You get what I'm saying?
And if you're like a parent being like, oh, I'm trying to get you to be friends with all kinds of people, but then you're like turning around and being like, no, but don't act like them. What?
Like, back to like the whole school thing. Like, okay, you dress how you're influenced, right? Mm-hmm. Back in high school or back in elementary, everything I wore, like, I loved hip hop just because I felt like, okay, growing up, all of my parents listened to was reggae. Mm-hmm. My parents are, like, in a sense, like, we call them freshies. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, they were immigrants. Like, they spoke patois, and that's something that, like...
Yeah, Sanchez blasting.
For the longest time, like, I didn't... Like, I can understand it, but it's, like, it's not like I could speak it back, right? So, like, at the end of the day, they're kind of speaking at you. So, they take over the music in the house. And, like, yeah, it's beautiful music, but it's like, okay, I don't understand that 100%. You get what I'm saying? So, then you have something like hip-hop, which is in the language that I know, and it's talking about stories, and it's just that rage. Because, I mean, the reggae that we listened to, it wasn't necessary. It was like lovers rock. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? It's like, stand up and say no to Babylon, and like, you know? I didn't even listen to dancehall until this is after high school. Anyways, so it was all positive stuff. Yeah. And here I am growing up in this experience and not understanding where this rage is coming from.
And your world is like probably very different, like just physically being here in Toronto, very different than like
how they grew up.
Right?
So it's like, okay, here is the music that's talking about love. I just come in, right, from a teacher who's ignoring me, put me in the back of the class. Totally, yeah. I asked a question, I just got shut down. And like my parents was like, yo, you go to school and you get good grades. And it's just like, all right, now go on and eat your dumpling.
They won't let me.
How when the teacher doesn't want you to?
Yeah, exactly.
How when someone tells a joke, you laugh, you're the one who gets in trouble.
Yo, you're disruptive. Yeah. You're in a sense, they're telling you what's wrong with you.
You're bad influence. Yeah. You're a bad influence.
You're 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you're constantly told to quiet down.
Oh, yeah. I've had numerous parents yell at me directly because the teacher told them that I was distracting their kid. I'm like, how? Yo.
But first of all,
man sits on the other side of the classroom.
I'm at the back of the class. How am I distracting your ass?
I'm in the corner drawing Dragon Ball Z. Like, how am I distracting anybody?
But also, like, think about how fucked up that is in the teacher's brain to be like, I don't understand how to teach your kid, so I'm going to blame another kid for their failure. Like, think about that.
Well, think about what the systems are in.
100%. Right? Yeah.
And this is Toronto. Remember, multicultural Toronto.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I never had a black teacher in my life. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I've had two.
Yeah, I've had at least two.
Dude, okay, keep in mind, D has a degree. Yeah. You went to university. Yeah. How many fucking years of school is that?
No.
And you had how many teachers that are black?
Okay, let's see. I had...
That's true, too.
One in junior high. Yeah, one in junior high.
You're totally right.
One in junior high, 2 in high school, and 1 university prof.
The fact that you can count them is ridiculous.
4.
How many white teachers have you had?
Countless. Right? Because, like, think about it, too. Like, how many in one single grade, you don't have just one teacher, right? Like, you have a teacher that teaches you math. You have a different teacher that teaches you science. You have a different teacher that teaches you English. Like, out of all those people, if 2 were black...
Yo, to be honest, like, I grew up playing sports, too. I don't even remember having a black coach. No black assistant coach.
Right.
To me, that's ridiculous. Like, me even just actually coming to that realization now is just crazy. Yeah. But in a sense, this is... Okay, so that was my experience. Yeah. Right? So now, okay, I hear this hip-hop music, and it's talking about shit, and, like, the rage is there, and the anger, and there's an understanding. Right? And you're naturally like, okay, this is what I'm into. Back then, everything was baggy. Everything was big. Like... Yo, we didn't come from means and like, yo, you mean like, you get what I'm saying? So, yo, a lot of us have like, yo, you get hand-me-downs. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. My hand-me-downs like my cousin, right? Yeah. Who's a boy, so it's like, yo, I'm getting the baggy stuff and like, yo, back then like the tomboy look was in.
That was so cool.
Yo, all of a sudden, my mom gets a letter, oh, you can't wear that to school. I need to start like, you know, monitoring what you're wearing. Yo, the bandana thing. My dad is a Jamaican. First of all, a bandana, they call it handkerchief. Yo, it's in your back pocket, but it's folded in, and it's always folded in a way, and it's just to wipe their sweat.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Literally, he tucks it out, like, it's honest, it's like what a pocket square is to a suit.
Yeah.
Right? In the jeans, you get what I'm saying? He wipes his brow and he puts it back. So he always had thousands of them, right? I remember I'm like, ooh, red was my favorite color. So I grabbed this red bandana, put it on my head, and I'm like, yo, I'm feeling like a warrior. In a sense, yo, I drew my confidence from hip-hop. Because it's like, yo, finally somebody's speaking my story, and I know I'm heard. I know I'm understood. Because somebody's telling me words that I feel.
Yeah.
Put this bandana on. I'm feeling like the king. You think I'm caring that this teacher's not? Yo, the teacher put me in the back of the class and won't answer my questions. What do I do naturally? You know how to read. My parents made sure that I knew that much. All right, I'll read it myself. I'll teach myself. You get what I'm saying? And I'm doing that with my head, like with my bandana, with my red bandana tied on my head, and my braids long. My clothes are baggy.
Yeah.
And they have a problem with it. And then you go on. It's like, yo, you can't wear this to school. I remember they went so far as to ban cornrows because they said it was gang related.
Yeah. See, that's really.
And you're like, which part? How so?
And I was just like, my mom's like, yo, what the fuck am I supposed to do with her hair? And yo, this was early on, so my mom didn't even know how to braid at this point.
Yeah.
Like, so that's exactly when I started perming my hair. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And you see how it all goes into one.
Together.
Yo, the one day I permed my hair, oh my God, your hair's so nice. Look at that. It looks so different.
It all comes together.
So it's just like, yo, this, and then it's the same people like, oh, okay, what? Was it not nice before? Like, you get what I'm saying? It doesn't look like that. You get what I'm saying? Oh, but they're saying it looks so nice, and I have a ponytail, and I could swing it, and it looks just like Becky's now. And like, you get what I'm saying?
Exactly, right?
So now, okay, my hair's straight. You get what I'm saying? I'm being controlled, and my mom's putting me on these fucking girl clothes that I hate. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm finally becoming acceptable because I am what they are. So now the kids are talking to me more. You get what I'm saying? So now I'm in the group. Somebody makes a joke, I laugh. Who gets in trouble? You. It's the loud black girl. It's that distraction. It's that problem, right? You try to tell your story, your side of the story. What happens?
Don't hear it.
Shh.
Yeah, don't hear it. Shh. Are you talking back? You're arguing? Shh. Go down to the principal's office.
Yo, legit, I had a seat at the principal's office. I had a desk at the principal's office.
Friends with the principal from like first day of school will be like, yeah, so
I'll be seeing a lot of you.
I'll be meeting you a lot.
To me, it's just ridiculous and it's crazy.
Going back to something we did kind of skim upon.
What's up?
This whole discussion about schools. How they want to control, quiet down, pretty much stamp out the existence and of black people in schools, in our school system, right? They call it as we're falling through the cracks. It starts at the home, you know. They just don't care. There needs to be more. The parents, it's the parents, you know. It starts at home.
It starts at the home.
It starts at the home. Well, really, you go to the damn school and they don't want to teach you anything. Yeah. You try to ask a question, they don't want to answer it. Yep. You want to learn, they don't want to help you. So what do? You have to self-learn. You have to self-teach.
If you ask a question, you're considered slow and not getting it.
They try to pull that on me.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's such a weird dynamic.
They tried that one.
And keep in mind, these are children versus adults in a school system surrounded, like, you get what I'm saying? And I'm gonna say white people because that's what they were.
Mine too. So again, going back to all of this now, when we do be like, you know what, this just isn't working, and people are getting there together and like, okay, this just isn't working, and then if every black person you talk to having the exact same experience, this just isn't working. So then people get together and they're like, yo, we're gonna put together a black school, an Afrocentric school in the TDSB. And once it opens its doors, everybody and their mama's screaming at them. Yep. Everyone's like, segregation, you can't do this, and this is not allowed.
Paying? Not my tax dollars.
I don't want my tax dollars to go into this, and I don't want this.
And again, if I opened a white-only school, you'd have a really big problem with that.
And blah, 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 blah. So why is it, you don't want us to be in the school system, you don't want us to have our own school, what do you want?
Yeah. They don't want you to exist.
Exactly.
There we go.
Yeah.
And this, like I said, remember how I was saying this happened from the jump. I remember listening to a podcast, shout out to 99% Invisible. It's a podcast about design and building things. It's like low-key an architect podcast, but really it's applicable to life. It's like the design aspect of life.
Ooh, that sounds sexy.
There's an episode that I couldn't remember the name of, but thanks to the internet, I was able to find. It's called Soul City. It's episode 207. We'll put that in the show notes because it's a really good episode. It's short. And it's talking about how in early America, like 1960s-ish.
Which isn't that far behind. Like,
oh, hell no. This is when, like, our parents were
50
born.
years ago.
yeah.
So, anyway, 1960s-ish, black people, you know, are, like, trying to move into the suburbs. They're trying to gain wealth. White people are like, oh, black people bring down our property value. We're going to leave. Mm-hmm. The great crisis known as a white flight was happening. Mm-hmm. So all these suburbs were being emptied out, right? Because Delroy moves into the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And Becky's like, we gotta go. We gotta go move further. So what do we have? And you end up with whole cities being first it starts with all neighborhoods that are vacant, then whole cities. So a couple of people get together. Like I said, I don't remember the details of the episode, but it's a really good episode to listen to. I'm just giving you the Cole's notes. It's definitely want to go to 99% of it as well and listen to it. Anyway, a couple people get together and they're like, you know what? Why don't we just make an all black city? Mm-hmm. Why don't we just call it Soul City? We'll just focus on us. We'll develop our things and blah blah blah. So of course, what's the first thing everyone screams? Oh, that's anti-American. Mm-hmm. That's we got past segregation. You guys don't want that anymore. Why you want to pull it? Mm-hmm. And my first initial thought when listening to this is, why is it whenever black people want their own thing, it's anti blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. It's segregation. Yeah. Why is it when Chinatown was being built, no one was screaming, you know what the Chinese are trying to say together? That's not allowed.
That's too scary for us.
Why is that an issue? Yeah. Why is it? And like I said, this wasn't happening from the jump. This was just one that I remembered. That came to mind. So like I said, look up that episode. We'll have that in the show notes. But it's like every time that we want to have our own thing is an issue. Yeah. I'm sure the same thing. Not I'm sure. I remember it. I was alive. Same thing happened with BET. Yeah. Yup. Yeah. Same thing happened with this TDSV school. I forgot the name of the school, but it's an Afrocentric school. It's still around. It's in the like West Endish.
Keep in mind, this is one school.
Yeah, this is one school.
It's not a group.
One school in Toronto. In the entire Toronto District School Board. The entire TDSV.
Is that, like, I wonder, is that a thing anywhere else in the country? I doubt it.
I don't think so.
I highly doubt it.
I don't think the rest of the country has enough black people. For
Thank you. That's my point. Exactly. I don't think there's enough.
That shit's not going to happen in, like...
No, but
Alberta?
Yo, you bringing that up, that's how... Okay, do you guys not remember, like, everybody had, like, some sort of Saturday school to go to? Like, you're like... Didn't you have, like, Polish schools on Saturday?
I didn't go to Polish school, but a lot of... We were basically, my sister and I were like, no, we're not doing that shit. Okay. But it was a discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, whether it was religious school or like Mandarin school or some kind of cultural school that
something cultural outside of it.
Yes.
Exactly. So that's when all that stuff came up, and that's when I started kind of learning more about my culture and learning more about our origins. Mm-hmm. And like, I'll never forget, like, my dad or my stepdad saying this to me. He's like, remember, like, the difference between love and hate is that, in a sense, is just the other side of the coin. Mm-hmm. And he's like, people who hate you, they're just afraid. And I was just like, whoa, that's kind of deep. Because it's like, yo, where's the misunderstanding? You get what I'm saying? Why don't you want me to exist? Is it because you secretly fear me? And if that's true, why?
Yeah. Why?
Because you don't, like, obviously you're not threatening in your own head, right? Like, so you don't get it. Why some random teacher would be so scared of you that they send you to the principal's office every fucking day.
Like a 10-year-old, you can't control a 10-year-old
that, like,
kid.
In your case, tell other students' parents that you're the reason they're failing. Like, what?
No, it's because Johnny can't read, like...
You know, your child's a dumbass. That's why he's failing. It's legit
because Johnny can't read.
Maybe you're just, like, not a great teacher, you know?
I try to send Mans my comic book, and he's like, I don't know what that says. So, but somehow that's my fault.
Yo, it's your fault. Wow. Right? Okay, yo, I'm not even... Okay, shout out to Wakala. Have you guys ever heard of him? He's like an English rapper, and like, here we go, conscious. But he's basically like, yo, like, he's actually his mom is white and his dad is black, and his thing was like, yo, not necessarily that he understands. I'm kind of paraphrasing but his point is like, I can understand the perspective of a white child who grows up in a world thinking that white is like the ultimate race, and that I'm supposed to be this, that, and the third, and then has to sit beside a black child or an Asian child or an Indian child who's smarter than them, right? So think about, in a sense, the self-loathing that develops in them, and then when those two kids grow up together, like, what do you think their view on a certain person is going to be? Their first thought's not going to be like to be compassionate. You get what I'm saying? It turns into what us versus them type of thing. And it was just like, ooh, like how, it just made me think, like, how deep seated is this, and is there ever a solution?
That's that's the other part now that we have to get to, because I remember you remember that a while ago when, I can't remember the specific, I think it was probably when Trayvon was murdered, when a bunch of people started rearing their ugly head and voicing their opinions and such, and all the people now were like, racism's gone though, like racism's not a thing, the only people who are still racist are just the older white people, like that once that generation's dead and gone, like, we're not racist, we're gonna be fine, we're gonna be cool,
right?
But it's like, who's at these white nationalist rallies, who, like, 20-year-olds and younger.
And I remember one caption that said, yo, people, take a look and see, because these are going to be your future doctors, lawyers, politicians.
100%. Teachers,
yes.
Yeah.
And that was where I was like, oh my God, remember I was like, yo, when does this end?
And that's exactly going back to my question, because people foresaw a date.
Yeah.
And I was
like,
with
the dying out of the older, quote unquote,
when all the baby boomers go away is when they saw it. But I was like, no, that's not how this works, because now they're just learning to veil it better. Now they're all pretending to be Canadian, and they're like, we're racist on the low though.
Yeah.
But
which is, like, even scarier.
Oh, it's terrifying, because then you trust nobody.
Yeah. No, legit. Like, I mean, that is scary, because it's like, yo, you could grow up with somebody and think they're cool, right? And then something happens, it's just like a little comment, an offhanded comment.
Years. You could know someone from elementary school to grown life, and then it takes an event like one of these to happen, and then for them to be like, oh, I don't see what the big deal is, and then for you just like, what
do you mean?
Really?
We've been friends for years, how can you not understand me so hard?
And then it's the pick and the choosing. It's like, oh, they're friends with me because, to me, like, I don't fit that mold.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? No. So they've, in a sense, excluded me from that. And it's not to say, like, yo, this is my group, but it's like...
And that's the thing, and it's always like, oh, I'm not talking about you, you're different.
There you go. Why do you sound so white?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking about you. Like, you dress like that. Like, I'm not talking about them. Yeah. And it's just like, so now we have an issue.
Yeah.
And the fact that they don't get it, they're going to fight hard against that.
And because they think that they're complimenting you, right? Like, how can that possibly be a compliment? I just know, like, what?
But it's like, how can you think that that's a compliment? And it's like, imagine if I ate that, I was like, oh my God, thank you. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
there are those people that do. And they're dangerous.
They're very dangerous.
That's scary. That's
like, it's scary because it's like a systemic issue, right? Like,
it keeps going. It keeps everything going.
Yeah, and you don't think that, to have that reaction of saying thank you, I am not like them. It's not your fault, right? Like, it's the fault of people that have constantly been telling you that you're inferior, that you're not worthy, that you need to be better. Right?
It's
so
like, yo,
you want to be better.
It's like, yo, you don't understand how many times I've been told to, like, watch my tone, watch my voice. You need to smile more. And these are, like, subtle things. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just like...
You're too angry. And you're like...
You're too loud.
This is my voice. This is my face.
Yeah.
This is... Everything that you are becomes
This is a part of me.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like, oh...
Yeah, I remember, like, in my middle school, all the black girls were constantly being told that they have an attitude problem by every teacher. Every other student, too.
Right?
Yeah. You have an attitude problem.
And that, like, to me, that was the worst thing to be labeled as, too. You get what I'm saying? Because then after you get the attitude, here comes a whole slew of other things that become acceptable.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, yo, you can't be smart and have an attitude. Right? If once you have this thing, you're, in a sense, you're in the bad folder.
Totally.
Right? You don't get the best of anything. You don't get the same access. Right? You do get pushed to the back of the class.
But yet they don't understand that you might be angry because you're
being tired of the fuckery.
Yeah. What's causing the attitude?
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
And, like, kids don't necessarily, like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of kids do get it, but sometimes you're like, I just don't get why I'm being put in a different place than everybody else.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no.
And it's tough. It's something, it's when you learn how the world is.
Totally.
Yeah. And then your heart, it's like you're the first time your heart breaks, in a sense.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's interesting to go home, like, you get what I'm saying, to your family and trying to explain it. Mm-hmm. And even them coming from, like, my parents came from, you know, here's Jamaica, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Everybody's black. Like, yeah, we got Chinese people, but they're, like, you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And them not understanding it. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of really just leaches into everything else. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because then you're getting pressurized for both sides, like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Right. But then, what happens, and this is to anybody, right? If I go to you and I'm like, yo, this, that, and the third, and every single day I'm telling you the same thing, how many times, like, the 9th, 10th time, you're going to be like, oh, wait, you know what? I did catch a bit of an attitude from him. Yeah. Right? All of a sudden, now your parents see you as this attitude problem child. And it's just like, it's weird how it leaches into every single aspect of life. Mm-hmm. And then people, we can't talk about it because then they have a problem with it. They don't want to understand it. They don't want to listen to it. It's not a problem.
And then you just cut them out. Yeah. You pull out the biggest scissors.
How many people can you cut them out? How many people can you cut out? How do you cut out a boss? How do you cut out his boss? Right? You get what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, and that's why it just becomes shaky. It just
it's like you can't function shaky. Like that.
Well, that's why like I'm sure you guys are so exhausted, right? Like, how can you not?
It's like, yo, even back then, it was like I noticed how angry I was all the time, and in a sense, it bleeds you dry. Right? Because when you're angry, you don't have enough, like, you're using all that energy for nothing good.
You have nothing else left.
Right? Yeah. You're in school for 8 hours. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? 8 hours
5 hours a day. I mean, like, 5 hours a day. 5 days a week. You know? Right? Like, that's so much of your life.
You're not with your family. You're not with the people who understand what you are, who you are. Like, you get what I'm saying? I can't roll up to school and just wake up in 5 seconds and roll up to school unless my hair is braided. I can't braid my hair. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Yo, I remember even when I was gonna friggin' dread my hair because mom's like, yo, I don't know what to do with this kid's head no more. And like, yo, even that thought alone, like, yo, like, does that make her a target?
Then you have to be like, oh, now I have to worry about all the issues that come with that. And in big 2017, that's still an issue. That's still an issue to this day. The amount of times where I'm like, all right, I gotta go to a job interview.
Mm-hmm. What do I do?
Think. You gotta stop and think. You can't be who you are. You have to stop and think. How is this gonna be perceived?
And especially
how am I gonna come off?
At this recording, it's been a year since I've been growing out my hair. So usually I keep my hair short, but I've been growing it for the past year. And it's like gone now. Like now I just don't give a fuck. But it's like initially I was like, well, how is this gonna be perceived issue-wise? And this is not a thing that anyone else has to worry about. Which is why I said, fuck that. If no one else has to worry about it, I'm not gonna worry about it either. Yeah. Suck your mama.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Even like, I used to have half of my head shaved, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if I went to a fucking job interview, nobody would care. It's just a hairstyle. But for you, that's different.
It's like,
it's so much different.
Say even if it's not a problem, it still becomes a topic.
Oh yeah,
right.
Oh,
it's still like,
well, well, that's the thing.
Whoa,
I can never get rid of that.
Look at this.
I can never get rid of that being a topic. I had my hair in twists like 2 weeks ago, and then I pulled them out, and now it's in a fro again. And the first day I showed up in twists, everyone did like, whoa. Wow.
What'd you do?
Good thing no one, people know better. I guess they know me. Like, I must just radiate that with like, no, keep your damn hands to yourself. But no one has tried to reach out. Somebody wanted to touch it. But like you said, it becomes a topic. And I'm like, all right, stop all the fucking talking. Let me do what I'm here to do and go.
Let me work.
Like, you get what I'm saying?
Well, like, you had a story about a teacher touching your hair.
A teacher. Yeah, I did. And it was ridiculous to me because my hair was natural at the time. Like, and this is, like, I think it's like every black girl's journey. Mm. You go through the perms, you get tired of the perms. Mm-hmm. You go through, and keep in mind, like, yo, it's a lot of upkeep and it's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And, like, yo, my mom, I have 3 girls in my family, you feel me? So if you're doing it for one, you gotta do it for all, like, and then you have my dad who's like this black, like, this extra black, and I'm like, no, like, my dad didn't even, like, approve me, like, plucking my eyebrows, because God gave them to you that way, and that's his, whatever. Anyway, so I'm like, you know, fuck it. I'm going natural. Mm-hmm. how you gonna go natural when you don't know how to do your own fucking hair?
Yeah.
Right? So I finally, like, one of my black friends give me, like, cocoa butter and the coconut oils, and, now it's getting all soft and stuff, and it's not long enough to put in a ponytail, but I could put it in, like, a fro. And so every day I have my hair, like, in this fro, and, like, you have to, like, black people's hair is, like, you gotta puff it up, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, if somebody's hand gets into it, the handprint comes out, so you gotta keep a pick close.
Yeah.
And this teacher... So people were fascinated by it. And keep in mind, this is during summer school. So I'm kind of over the whole thing. And I went to summer school in my actual high school. Teacher sees me like, oh, and she's like, oh, yeah, I like your hair. Thank you. Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Keep it
Conversation
going.
done.
Done. Yeah. Now I'm talking to my friend, and I feel somebody's hand in my hair. And I don't know how y'all feel, but my reaction is when somebody's grabbing me from the back.
Dude. Yeah.
Self-defense kicks in.
Yeah.
So here I am. I grab the person's hand like this, wheel them around, like, when you almost, like, bring their heart. I think that's, like, a self-defense. I think I got that from a movie. I swear that was, like, Kill Bill or some crazy-ass move. Grab their hand, find out it's a teacher. I see it's a teacher. What do? I get scared that I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Her first saying, oh, wow, it's so soft. I didn't know it was so soft.
I just wanted to feel it. What?
One, okay, I don't understand how that's ever appropriate. Two, I don't know why you didn't ask my permission. Three, I don't know why you think it would be any different. Like, what did you think it was? A fucking Brillo pad, you asshole? Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, to me, it's like, to you, in my eyes, it looks like, I'm not a fucking chia pet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm not something that you could just come, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Especially
because, like, in school, you're told over and over again that, like, it's not okay to touch people. It's not, don't put your hands on somebody. Don't, like,
dude, from the back. If a black person came up from a white teacher and put her hand behind her back. Oh my god, that you're getting kid's suspended. Expelled, for sure. Are you kidding me? The shitstorm that would cause.
You'd have to move. They'd ban you from, like, every school and the TD. You'd have to move school districts.
And here's the thing about school districts now, and I learned this the hard way. They want to know. They want to talk to your teachers. They need a letter to see why you're switching school districts. They want to know. Wow. And then even I remember the teacher's like, no, we don't do that because we need to give that child a chance. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they would not let my sister, and my sister has, like, one of the, her absences are kind of fucking ridiculous, but has one of the cleanest record, has a cleaner record than I could have ever. And she had an issue getting into a school in fucking Ajax. Wow. Dude, this is 2016 at this time. And I couldn't believe it's like, and it's so, like, it's so heavy in these places. And, like, thank God Ajax is now, the black people are coming. The black people are taking over. I'm seeing patty shops and I'm seeing Jamaican restaurants popping up on every corner. And, the block is hot. But, to me, it was just... It scared me because it's like, in my sect, like, here I am being violated. And, that's what it is. It was. And I was scared because I put my hands on her. You're like, shit, now I'm in trouble. But I immediately, in my mind, like, I was like, shit, I'm in the wrong. Yeah. I'm in the wrong. Yeah. To this person who did that. Like,
you're the one who's being violated.
Yeah. That is crazy to me.
That is fucked up.
That to me it's such a weird thing. Like the black existence.
The black fight, man. Vince Staples raps about it. Kendrick raps about it. More people are talking about it.
Everybody talks about it in most people talk about it in some capacity.
More and more people are talking about it. J.Cole, the neighbors think I'm selling dope. Mm-hmm. Again, because another favorite J. Cole song of mine, because that existence is so real. Yeah. And this is... When did he move in that neighborhood? Let's say a couple years ago. Let's just say a couple years ago.
Yeah, okay. After he made a bunch of money. Yeah.
So after he's been on TV. Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Let's just say that was a couple years ago. Yeah. Why is he having the same issue of a black man moving into a rich white neighborhood as Nat King Cole did? Yeah. Way back in the day. Way. Moving into a rich neighborhood, a rich white predominant neighborhood. The only difference is they're not burning nigger into his lawn. Yeah.
Not yet.
But no, they're going to call the cops on him. The cops are going to kick down his fucking door because they think he's selling drugs. Yeah. This makes no damn sense. Yeah, man. So, like, that whole story behind the song, I didn't get to see that show, but my friends were telling me that he played a clip because he had security footage at his place. And it's the cops running in, like the riot police, the attack force, like battering ram down his door. Kicking down his door, just running and rushing into his house, and he's like, and the whole story of the song is like, he's just there mossing. He doesn't have a big rapper car. Yeah. He just has a little something to get him from A to B. It's his boys just mossing in the house, just chilling, and the neighbors are like, no, how the fuck did these rich black people get? How did these black people get here? They must be selling drugs. Yeah. Drug dealers were rich. black people can only be drug dealers.
Yeah.
They must be selling drugs.
And that's
Let
ridiculous.
me snitch on them.
Yeah.
And they kicked down his fucking door. And then, like, raided his place and, of course, found nothing. And then we're like, yeah. And then walked away.
It's like, oh, they probably hid all the drugs they knew were coming. He probably bought, like, you get what I'm saying? It's
he
like,
bought the cops out.
God forbid black people are living and existing in these all-white spaces.
Well,
And again, that's what I'm saying, bringing it back, like, this is, let's say, give him a couple of years. Why am I struggling to say his album? No, his album.
For Your Eyes Only?
Thank you. For Your Eyes Only. I'm like, I was trying to say For Y'all.
For Y'all Entertainment.
Like,
Shout out.
Because, right now we're recording in Brampton.
For Y'all Entertainment. There you go.
So For Y'all's from Brampton, so I guess that's where my brain is going. But, yeah. Say the album name again for me.
For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah, so that dropped. Let's just say he recorded the song a couple years ago, so this is recent.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he going through the same thing that Nat King Cole went through? How many years ago? Mm-hmm. Why is it still an issue?
Yeah.
Why? That's really where we got to end it off. Is just why? Like why is it still a thing?
And that's a good question. And I would love to hear everybody's opinion on why you think it is. And not even necessarily that too, like not only that alone, but what do you think is the solution to something like this? You get what I'm saying? How do we get past that time where we can have a conversation? And it's not even necessarily that, oh, I'm being sensitive or you're being offensive, but like, can we really have a conversation where we try to understand one another? Mm-hmm. You need to be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Imagine tomorrow if you wake up, white people, imagine if tomorrow you wake up a darker skin complexion. Mm-hmm. Do you understand that your entire existence changes? And we're not just talking about the simple things. We're talking about in all aspects of your life.
Everything a part of your life.
You get what I'm saying?
Upside down. So you're right. That's like a big thing. Like what how do we go forward from here? What can be done? Mm-hmm. What if anything?
Mm-hmm. Can anything be done?
Like white people even or black people think about how if you don't understand or if you don't for a second, you're like, you know what? I know Charlemagne has this thing, like, his book is called Black Privilege. Yeah. And he talks about basically, like, being black is a privilege. And I rock with that 100%. Mm-hmm. But for the people who are like, no, like, I don't have a racist experience, Lil Wayne, think about if you woke up tomorrow, right? And think about all the things you wouldn't have to think about. Yeah. And just see how different, in a sense, how your perspective
would flip.
Your perspective would flip.
You wouldn't have to consider growing out your hair because of what repercussions you might face.
Your whole perspective would flip.
Whole thing would flip.
And we'll probably end on, because we could go on for this topic because we've been on this earth for 20 plus years, so...
Yeah, but
20 plus years of experience.
No, it's gonna, and remember how you're like, it might go on for another 20 plus. Yeah. I mean, the way that history has taught us, our kids are gonna be dealing with it.
It's been hundreds of years.
Grandchildren
it's not going
are gonna
anywhere
be doing
in 20 years.
And what's the solution? Yeah, is there a solution? Is it built into the fabric of this society?
Yes, but like I said, we're trying to wrap this up, and you keep bringing up more questions.
I mean, tell me your thoughts. I want to hear everybody else's perspective. I mean, we giving you little clips of ours.
Yeah, I only gave you just like a little spoon.
A sliver.
Little spoonful. Like, you only got a little bit. But we'll end off with probably my favorite quotes related to all of this. Mm-hmm. Paul Mooney said, "Everybody wants to be a nigga, but nobody wants to be a nigga."
Mm-hmm. Well, what? To add that to that, I don't know who said it, but I am not your Negro, but I am that nigga. There you go. Now you can add.